Hi, folks. It's Bill and Wendy again. Jonathan is trying to get some loans closed
That's right.
before the end of
Somebody's
the
got to
month.
work around here, right?
That's right. We have a wonderful guest today. Ever wondering how Fernando learned about
Andalucci,
yeah.
like his name.
If you ever want to know how he learned about self-storage,
We got the daddy.
we got Guru.
That's right.
Right after.
I just love our little Christmas stuff.
Yes, our graphics are getting keener and keener.
That's right.
So thank you, folks, for joining us on the Passive Investor Show. We are capital management. We are lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com, click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, then click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and don't forget to sign up with Wednesdays with Wendy. Wendy gives up 30 minutes to anybody who wants to talk real estate on Wednesdays.
That's right.
Get on her calendar. The calendar is right there. It's also in the chat box because she's usually booked up a couple of months in advance.
Yeah, I'm into the second week in February now. So
speaking of chat boxes, we have a chat box.
That's
it's on the right-hand side of your screen or underneath, depending on the platform that you're viewing from.
That's right.
And like I said earlier used. I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. Scott Meyers. He's been a friend of ours for a while. He loves the self-storage business. He's very successful in the self-storage business. He helps people with an education course that he has.
But the most amazing thing
mastermind that he has.
That's right.
And then at the same time, you can passively invest in a lot of the deals that he has. Right.
That's right.
But what we really want to start with, because today is chocolate covered charity, and as greedy as we all are.
Yeah.
We also love to give back.
That's right.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Surprise.
Sorry, I forgot. We have a special guest graphic that
you guys are fancy. That's all I got to say is you guys are fancy. I have never been introduced by a robot before. That is fantastic.
It's hard to.
Yeah. Do you speak robot, by the way?
Well, if it's just a little bit of beeps and buzzes like that, I suppose I can. But yeah, that's my limit.
You can pull out your old dial-up modem.
Yeah,
it's kind of what it sounded like. Well, good to be here, guys. And so glad that we're. I mean, I always love to talk about storage, but I was thankful that you reached out and said that we could talk about some other things like generosity and missions. And so, yeah, excited about chatting with you today.
Yeah, real estate investors get a bad name that we're all greedy, and all we're looking for is to, throw somebody's mom out of a house if they don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand. A lot of people do not know about how most of us really like to give back anywhere we can. Because making money is fine, but it's more about a legacy and helping your community and helping the folks around you.
Building a kingdom.
One of the pleasures that I had was traveling to Mexico with you and your family to help build houses for folks in Ensenada. And it was, I'm telling you, it's great to write a check. It makes you feel good, but it's threefold
the hands-on
better seeing it, and you really appreciate what you have when you get back. I know you're involved in Youth with a Mission. So if you don't mind, can you kind of share with our audience what goes on and how you're involved?
Yeah, so this, we got involved with YWAM, with Youth with a Mission, when we went on our first house building trip that was sponsored by someone else. There's a gentleman here in Indianapolis, where I live, who has a very successful business, and he would take any one of his employees, his staff members, on a short-term mission trip, a 4-day mission trip where they would travel to the Dominican Republic or Mexico, and in 2 days build a house and give it to a deserving family, and he would pay for that experience for his employees. Well, his kids and our kids went to the same school, and he opened it up and offered it to the school, to anybody that wanted to go on this mission trip, and they would pay for it, just like he did if we were one of his employees. All we had to do is pay for the plane tickets to get to Dominican Republic. So our kids came home. We're all excited about this, and said, I mean, what are you going to say when your kids come home and say, "Hey, can we go on a short-term mission trip with all our classmates?" And one of the classmates' dad's paying for it. So we went, and we had an incredible experience. The same experience that you shared, Bill. And as a matter of fact, it was exactly the same, because when we came back from that trip, as you know, we were changed, and you know what? My heart was crushed for Mexico, and we decided that I wanted to do this. And so, it's funny when you make a commitment, and you never want to make a deal with God, but kind of drew a line in the sand and said, "Hey, if you bless this, I'll do the same." And so we started tithing and taking 10% of our profits in our businesses, set them aside into a fund to go build houses. And as soon as we had enough to pay for a team of about 20 people to go down and build a house and pay for the house, then we did it. And we went down and built the first one. And amazingly enough, our business began to take off after that. And I think it's as a result of our obedience and just continuing that legacy that was set forth by the gentleman in the company that offered for us to go. And so it's now grown into taking that one step further. And now we are building 4 to 5 houses a year. And the folks that are going with us are also getting the bug, or being tapped on the shoulder, or getting a message from God that they are to do the same thing. And some are following in our steps and building houses with YWAM and bringing their own teams. And others are just really maybe for the first time, or maybe for the second or third, and finally hit home, being more intentional and mission minded, and using their business, as you said, Wendy, to begin building the kingdom, and doing more so, and being more mindful and intentional as a result of that. So at the end of the day, we love building these houses, and the life change that we see in the families, and what that means to them. But also, and I would say maybe an even greater benefit to that, or caveat, is that we see that the folks that we take, they're doing the same, and so the ripple effect is now affecting and changing dozens of lives as a result of that. And so we get to see and witness, and just be a vessel for that. And if I could change flip the 80-20 and spend 80% of our time on the mission field and taking people down and enjoying this experience and encouraging them to do likewise, and then the other 20% on emails and the real estate business, then I'd be a happy camper. And hopefully we'll get there someday.
Excellent. Selfishly, for me, it's like therapy. When you get back, it's easy to sit in traffic and complain about the person who cut you off.
It is for him.
And but it helps you to understand that, hey, I got my problems are nothing. This is nothing.
Yeah.
We don't have third world
This
problems.
is a first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look at what's happening to other folks.
Yeah.
And it really does make you. I wish we could take the people that don't think they have enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell them that you have way more than sometimes you deserve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's when the person in front of you in Starbucks is half latte with soy milk, it was it has 3 ounces more milk than they asked for. You really want to pull them inside and just say, really, why don't I take you on a trip, and we'll see how your perspective changes. And you're right, Bill. It's as often as we go. We go twice a year, and I've been on 10 trips now, and I need that. I need those trips every time, because I can get full of myself, and I can get full of the world, and get used to and accustomed to the privilege that we have here in the United States. And so to go there and to be grounded and get back to that level of contentment, and just saying, look around, you see all these people in these areas where we serve, and they're all happy, and regardless of what they have, and they don't have much, and it does put life in perspective.
Did COVID affect your trips the last year and a half?
It did, and that's so sad, Wendy. I don't know. This is a big deal to us, obviously. And so anytime that when we look at the fact that we couldn't go on these trips, but what happened in the third world countries that don't have the big safety net, and the affluence like the U.S. and the Western world, there's a lot of people that died through 2021, and not from COVID. They died from starvation, basic
Right.
medicine, and just all the challenges that those countries, it's magnified tenfold from them being isolated and living paycheck to paycheck when they're in lockdown and they can't go work. They went hungry, and they literally did. And so, for all that and the hundreds of other, we can go right on down the list, other, issues that occurred in these third world countries. It just, that absolutely, broke my heart to see that. And so that it did affect us. We were the second team to go back into Ensenada, Mexico and build in 2020. And this last trip that we took right before Thanksgiving, we were the largest trip that went back into Ensenada, Mexico, and built 3 houses and took 50 people with us. And so I don't say that to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but it's just that we realize and we truly feel that our business, we are the hands and the feet, and this is just a vessel, and God moves money through us to go and serve. And so to not be able to do that, we were just not in a good place last year.
So when's your next trip?
So next trip is coming up in June, and we're waiting to hear back from the base in YWAM as to the dates that we can build. So we're most likely the second week of June. We try to allow kids to get out of school because this is a family-friendly mission trip that we take. So we give them some time so that the kids can go, and we'll get a schedule after that. And usually, as Bill knows, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is what we try to schedule these trips for. So bank on that somewhere close to that around the second week of June.
So tell us what it looks like. Like, where do people stay when they're down there? How are they eating? What kind of clothes do they need to take? Do they need to bring tools? What does that look like?
Yeah. You don't need to be prepared. We don't need carpenters. We don't need skilled craftsmen at all. And that's why we took Bill and still got the house done. And, these are soft office hands. Yeah, I'm in the real estate business, but let's face it. It's a good thing we have 1.5-inch trim. We can cover up any mismarked, miscut, mismeasured wood and drywall, thankfully. We just need people that's got a heart for serving, is all. I mean, we start kids as young as 6 years old and up to when we've had grandparents that are in their 80s that sat in a chair and really provided encouragement and helped out and painted a little bit when they could.
Wow.
But we have about 20 people that go down, and we just bring your work clothes. That's it. Clothes that you don't mind getting dirty and painting in, and the crew takes care of the rest, meaning YWAM. The staff is incredible. They organize the entire trip. My wife, I won't take anything away from her because she does a lot of organizing and, herding the cats, all of us that go down there. But when we get there, YWAM really kind of takes over from there. We show up on the site. We have orientation the day before, and then we show up on the site. All the tools are there. We show up with a slab of concrete, a pile of wood, the generator, and then the YWAM staff, the builders, they tell us what to do and measure this, cut this, nail this, and there's usually a handful of us that have been on these before that we can kind of assist and know what to do. My 15-year-old daughter knows how to build a truss and roof a house now. From memory, she can tell anybody how to do that. But there isn't any skills necessary or required. Anybody can paint. Anybody can, nail a board, and there's nothing too dramatically technical about these houses that we built.
That's awesome.
It's funny. I looked through the pictures that we had, and speaking of the kids that live there, that have nothing, they have nothing. They're still smiling and laughing and having fun. But you were talking about the paint. I think I saw more paint on the people than I saw on any of the wood.
And every single time that we encourage them to get involved, whatever they want to do. But then as soon as those kids come over, I mean, they don't have too many changes of clothes. They don't have too many clothes, period. And so when they start helping out, they never change. They just start painting in whatever they get on, and it's pretty much ruined by the time they're done. But they are not shy, and then usually at some point it becomes a game with the other kids that we bring down as well. And that's ministry too. It's just good work that our kids are doing with those kids, and everybody walks away with just an incredible positive experience.
That's awesome.
Well, listen,
Ready for another trip?
Yeah, I already talked to Scott
Awesome.
about
Mhm.
next November. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Okay, so thank you for sharing about YWAM.
My pleasure.
He shared, and there's a couple of websites there in the chat to check out who YWAM is and some of the other stuff that they do. They have, I know they have schools that they've set up all over the United States as well. For people that want to get their degrees, and even I think they have high school stuff too as well, right?
Yeah, they really do. Yep, they're a pretty incredible organization.
Yeah, it really is. It really is an awesome organization. Let's talk about your business. First of all, as I teased in the beginning, you are the self-storage guru.
Yeah.
You do teach courses, and you have a mastermind. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we that came out of our investing company because in the beginning I was in houses and apartments, when I grew tired of tenants and toilets, looking to get into something else that didn't involve tenants and toilets in real estate, and well, that really left it left self-storage and parking lots. That was it. Well, it came to a lot of value in parking lots, and so I began looking into storage, and there really wasn't anybody to kind of assist in that. There wasn't a guru. There wasn't anybody teaching that, and so we learned by School of Hard Knocks and paying consultants and other mentors, and just going to the trade shows and talking to anybody and everybody I could. And so once I got into the business, it just kind of happened organically. And I used to run the Real Estate Investor Association here in Indianapolis, and started holding some workshops. And one of the the agents for the national speakers found out about me and what we were doing, and said, "Hey, why don't you put together, a course, and I'll put you out on the road." And I said, "Well, that sounds great, because I write the checks to those people that go out on the road and teach about other things in our real estate investment group." And but little did I know, what that would entail and how it took off. So yeah, there were people that were interested in it, and so before I knew it, we had a 60-hour a week business in the education side, as well as my investing business. So we've curtailed that and pulled that back these days, and blended the two companies between my investment company and our education company as well. And yeah, we've been doing it for 15 years, and we were the first. We're still the largest, and we've taught and mentored more people and got them into the business and taught them how to grow and scale their business, and anybody else out there. And that's a credit to my team, not just me, but like any entrepreneur, I suppose you looked across the land. If there's something that you need in your business and you can't find it, then you create it. And that's really what we did. And God has blessed that very well, and allowed us to change the lives of many, many investors who also followed that same path and didn't like the tenant toilet business and wanted to get into self-storage, and we allowed that to happen for them.
So you have a fund that people can invest in for your
correct.
storage. Is that correct? How many units, self-storage units, do you have at this point? Or I should call them stores, right?
Yeah, stores or facilities, interchangeable. We're selling 8 this year, and we're buying a whole bunch more. We're right at that 40 mark. We kind of hover right around there. I think
Wow.
we've been as high as 45 facilities. We're back down to like 41 right now, but getting ready to close on another one at the end of this month, but also probably selling another one at the end of this month as well. So yeah, the goal next year is look at larger opportunities, doing fewer deals but larger opportunities, and putting them into our fund. We syndicate and do private equity projects on single asset, single entity facilities by way of a capital raise. But then we also do have a fund which we're putting a lot of value add facilities, Class C, smaller facilities, value add, where we can create value and either sell or roll up into a portfolio and sell off. That is the goal of our self-storage growth fund.
Now, does that fund have an end date to it, or is it more of an ever fund? Okay.
Yeah, this is a 5-year fund that we've set, and I think before long we're probably quicker than we assumed we were going to be starting our second fund as well, and that may look a little bit different than a growth fund as well. But we acquire existing facilities, turn around value adds, we develop from the ground up, we convert facilities as well. So we do all things, and so as we look at our next fund, we may look at things just a little bit differently. But yeah, it is. This one is close ended, ends in 5 years, and then but in the meantime, we'll definitely be starting number 2 and perhaps another one after that.
Are there certain parts of the country that you like better than others at this point?
Yeah, the warm ones.
Yeah.
Because then I get to go visit the sites.
Yeah.
All that said, yeah, I mean, we've seen the migration. We know the states where everybody's going to, partly for political reasons, but then also always in many of those states because of the weather. I mean, the coast now minus California, everybody's going the opposite direction out of there. But we like Texas a lot. We like Florida a lot. We certainly like the Carolinas, and buying and selling very actively down there. As well. Tennessee has also been a hotbed for us, but still do own facilities up in Michigan, where I used to be from, and here in the Midwest. Although, funny thing is, we've got these roughly 40 plus facilities, and we've got 15,000 doors all across the country. And guys, I don't have one
Wow.
facility or one unit in my home state. If I wanted to store something in one of my facilities, I'd have to fly my stuff somewhere to do so. So we don't have anything around here right now, which is odd, but Phoenix, Arizona, and all the
You
warm
can always
places.
rent. You can always rent for somebody else.
I love the word rent, but not when I'm on the receiving end of it, or I should say the giving end of it. How's that? So good. Thanks for that tip, Bill. But that ain't me. We own it.
I have a self-storage unit. I've been renting now. My intention months just to store some from rehabbing and my Airbnb leftovers. And now I'm a year into it. They've been raising my rent every 3 months like clockwork.
Yeah.
I'm where am I going to go? And when I was putting in the contract for this, renting the unit in the first place, there was a woman that was in there that had been renting at the same place for 17 years. 17 years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Wendy, you're not typical, you are exceptional. So don't take this the wrong way, but you are our typical customer who says, well, I'm going to rent this for a few months or 10 months. And then they find themselves a year, 2 years, 17 years later, realizing the benefit of this. So on behalf of the industry, I thank you and your friend who's been there for 17
All
years.
the other suckers.
Awesome. It's a useful service we provide, Wendy.
It is. It is. No doubt.
Based on the price of land and other issues that we're having right now, are you finding more value add opportunities or more ground up construction type stuff?
Yeah, everything goes in cycles, Bill, and we saw what happened in the last cycle, meaning the recession of 08, 09, and I wish I had more cash or access to private equity, as I'm sure you and everybody else did when we came out of the back end of that with all the opportunities out there. And so we moved through that cycle as well. And so we're kind of gearing up for that again. There's a lot of folks, mom and pops, that just aren't keeping up with their facilities. And we know that there's going to be, when it comes time to refi, they won't have built enough value. And when they have to refi at a lower LTV and a higher rate, we're going to be buying up some of those facilities. In the meantime, self-storage has been so hot since 08 that we've been developing. So we, finding good land in good spots. Rental rates have been going up, like other asset classes, and really up until the past services started to go up dramatically. We've been building, just been on a tear for the past 2.5 years. So now we've taken a little step back, and have to look at. We looked at the existing projects we had in the pipeline, and one of them we hit the pause button on. It got too expensive. The others we value engineered them and still move forward. But now the pendulum has gone back to buying more of the value add facilities, along with development. We're still looking at development opportunities. It's just a little costly to build from the ground up right now. So looking and shifting gears more towards existing facilities has been our focus, and that's the past 5 facilities that we've purchased in the last 2 months have been all existing.
Yeah, there's still opportunities for other properties into self-storage as well. Kind of help hold this on the ground up. But, you take what the market's giving you.
That's it. Just give me the rule book and we'll figure out how to make it work and make money.
That's right.
That's right. Do me a favor, Sharib. Could you pull up Scott's URL again? So when you go to the self-storage URL, you have access to that's the YOAN. Let's go to the self-storage URL. When you go to that one, can you get opportunities to invest in some of your offerings as well as getting the education?
We do. Yep. That's all things self-storage and everything that we do is laid out there. All the resources, even some free ones to learn you on how to invest in self-storage, whether you're going to do it passively or actively. And then obviously, if you want to do a deeper dive on the active side, we have a full suite of resources to teach you about the business. And then there's a link and a tab to the passive side of our house, if you will, that shows the opportunities that we have available now, as well as a history. You can see just exactly how we do it. And we show the returns that we've given to our investors as we've exited on the back end for them. And just a good understanding of, what it looks like, our business model and the types of facilities that we invest in.
Sure. See, that's awesome, because if you're a potential passive investor, you have to understand the industry before you ever get into it. If you want to go, it's there, because as we all know, there are different levels of passive investors. Some of them are want to be a little more active than others.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it gives them a good idea what they're getting into, and then become a little more passive than active, right?
Exactly.
Yep. Have a 1031 option into any of your fund? Or
we do. We have the option that we can accept those funds as well. The challenge on the syndication piece, however, is that, as you know, all the investors would have to go forward to the next one. Otherwise, they would lose that tax benefit. It would end with us on that project. But we do accept funds 1031 into our fund, and there's also ways of structuring with tenants in common, and a couple other ways that even folks with 1031, they don't get dinged on the back end of our syndications as well. But that's a conversation we can have with your CPA and ours as to how to structure that so that you wouldn't lose that tax benefit.
Awesome. I've got to fill out my form Friday, so.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a lot of those conversations we've been having recently, Wendy.
Scott, by the way, thank you so much for joining us and sharing both YOM and your business and business model. You've been doing a great job in both, and we really appreciate you sharing with others.
Thank you. Well, Bill, we appreciated having you along and appreciate being here as well. And Wendy, we'll get you on the next one or one of these trips.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Excellent. Thank you, folks, for just on the what is the name of our
passive
accredited investor show. One of our folks called it the passive aggressive show, and it stays on my lips all the time now. It's the worst thing you could have done.
Yeah.
We are Carolina Capital Management. We're lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you are an investor looking for passive returns, click on the Accredited tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and sign up with Wednesdays with Wendy.
Yeah, no crazy robot.
There's no show next week because we will be celebrating Christmas.
That's right.
But we'll see you in January.
That's right.
Oh, no, right before January.
2 weeks we'll be out.
Have a great day. Talk to you soon.